Hey there, YouTube cheers. Coming back with part two here. It's Saturday, September the 16th, 2023, about 8:20 in the evening. So in part one, as I mentioned, I went out today. I went to a used record store, and then on my way back, I stopped at a Goodwill outlet store that I know of. And so there they charge by the pound. I don't remember what the price is by the pound, a dollar something per pound. But in the end, when they weighed me up, I had 14 pounds, and it was all CDs and DVDs. And so it was total of 48 CDs, 6 or 7 DVDs, I don't remember. But I'm not going to show all of the CDs, but I'll show some of my favorites. And 14 pounds of CDs and DVDs, with the way they price it, came out to about $19.50. That's a great deal. It wasn't even 50 cents per unit. Now the downside is, in this place, except for the books, they have all of the books together. And I normally go look through the books, and I didn't today because I had a Zoom meeting for work, and I had to hurry up. But what they do in these outlet stores is, instead of like most thrift stores, they have a section for everything: menswear, music, a section for CDs, a section for records. They just have these big, I should have took a picture when I was in there. They just have these big table-like carts, but it's deep. They're deep. And they roll on wheels, and then they lock. And so they just put a mishmash of stuff in each one. I mean, you might go to one, there might be it might be bags, suitcases, it might be some CDs in there, might be some records in there, might be some pins in there. It could be a bowling bag in there. I mean, it could be anything, and they don't. So you just have to literally go from this table to table, digging through, and then I don't know how often it is. Maybe every half hour or something. I don't know. They say, everybody back up. They come and they take the tables out. They unlock them. They wheel them back, and then they wheel out more. And this just goes on all day. I really wish because this one is rebuilt. Before, when it was at a different location, they separated at least the music and the DVDs and the CDs. It was all in one collective section. You can go, you knew what they had, and you look through it. So sometimes when I go there, I don't find any music. So sometimes when I go there, I don't find any music. Sometimes I find vinyl records, and I did find a few tables with some vinyl records, but it was all just old crappy stuff that, the typical thrift store stuff, and there was nothing really in there. So again, I did get some CDs. So these are some of my favorite CDs. Let me grab a pile here. So this is the Rolling Stones. Grrr, I like saying that. It's a comprehensive 2-disc best of set from the early 60s to the 2010s. I think it's a total of 40 songs on here. There's more than one version. I think there's also a 3-disc version with some more songs on here. But this was the 2-disc version. 40 songs of some of their greatest hits. Here's some more Rolling Stones stripped. This came out in probably like the mid-90s. I think 93, 94, 95, 96, somewhere in there. It was when they were on tour for that Voodoo Lounge tour. And it's got some new studio tracks, and then it's got some live stuff on here. I have heard this before. I didn't have it, and so I'm glad to get this one. Here's another one. It's Only Rock and Roll. This was an album that came out. Tearing stuff up. This was an album that came out in the mid 70s. They have a version of Just My Imagination on here that was kind of popular. I got it upside down. Look at me. Well, I'll fix it later. Yeah, this one is kind of hard to read because of the way it's made. But I can read the disc. I think I don't have my glasses. If you can't rock me, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. That's what I meant to say. They have a version of Ain't Too Proud to Beg on here. It's Only Rock and Roll, but I like it. Till the Next Goodbye. Time Waits for No One, which was a good song. Luxury. Dance Little Sister. And If You Really Want to Be My Friend. Fingerprint file, I think that says, in short, and Curless. I don't have my glasses. Can't see. Anyway, next up, the Essential Aerosmith. Great 2-disc set. Covering a lot of their great hits. This is a great listen because I'm an Aerosmith fan. This is Every Picture Tells a Tale. Rod Stewart, from before his days on Warner Brothers when he was signed to the Mercury label. This came out. I want to say 72 or 73. I have this album on vinyl, and I don't see it on the CD. If it's on here, I can't see it. This says 71 or 73. Early 70s, as I thought it was anyway. But it was a good album by him. The Moody Blues, To Our Children's Children. So, yeah, this was another one of their good albums. Of course, it doesn't have it in there. On here, but this is a German pressing, and it does look like it has some possibly bonus tracks on here. But Candle of Life is a song that I do like, as well as their version of I Thought I'd Never Live to Be 100. This was a good album, and I'm really glad to get it. Yeah, 1969 is when this originally came out. Glad to get this. This is a best of Hall & Oates, just their standard stuff. But I am a fan of theirs, and I will appreciate that. Here's some Pearl Jam. Rearview Mirror. I like the cover there. Shaped like a rearview mirror. Gatefold. Yeah, this is a good album. Mountain, Nantucket, Neighbor. I have this on vinyl. Here's a little country, Johnny Cash, and Willie Nelson live. I haven't heard this one before, but I'm kind of curious to see how that sounds. I am a Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson fan. The Black Crowes Greatest Hits 1990 to 1999. Not a huge Black Crowes fan, but it was there. I did get some of their original albums on CD as well. The price was right. A Blind Melon Soup, is the name of this album. And then Lil Anthony and the Imperials' greatest hits. I'm sorry, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers' greatest hits. I have this CD, but it's scratched. I had it for a long time. When I was a DJ, I played that. So that's the rock music. I did get a pile of jazz CDs as well that I was really glad to get because there's some Blue Note stuff in there, among other things. Keith Jarrett, the Cologne concert. I have this on vinyl on ECM, but it's nice to have on CD as well. This was an incredible album. I don't know if you've ever heard the story of this. The concert almost never took place. I think it's been some years since I've read the liner notes of the album because I've had that album on vinyl for a few years. But I think this concert was put together by essentially a teenager or something like that, and Keith Jarrett, he had to travel for hours, maybe even like a full day to get there. When he finally got there, he found that the piano that they had in the concert hall was just basically like a baby grand that was just a practice guitar, and it wasn't tuned properly, and it wasn't long before the show, and it was just so many things happening. But he ended up doing the show, and this is one of his most highly regarded albums, probably one of the best solo performance jazz records maybe in history. So if you're not familiar with that album, I would encourage you to become familiar with it. This CD is sealed, Grant Green, Green Street. I have this on vinyl, but on the great Blue Note label. Anytime I can get these great jazz albums on CD, I will. Grant Green on the guitar, Ben Tucker on bass, and Dave Bailey on drums on Blue Note. This is a mid 60s. No, 61. I don't know what made me think this was a mid 60s, but it's 61. I was so glad to get this sealed, less than 50 cents. Kenny Burrell, excuse me, Midnight Blue again, sealed on the Blue Note label. Stanley Turrentine is playing tenor sax, Kenny Burrell on guitar, Major Holly on junior on bass, Bill English on drums, and Ray Barretto on congos. I don't have this, and this is a Rudy Van Gelder edition, which I think with those means that there's some bonus tracks on here. Same with the Grant Green one. I think that means there's some bonus tracks on it as well. And this is again sealed. Another Rudy Van Gelder series edition, the real McCoy Tyner on Blue Note. This one isn't sealed. As you can see, it was seal was broken. It's on the Blue Note label. This features Joe Henderson on tenor saxophone, McCoy Tyner, of course, on piano, Ron Carter on bass, and Elvin Jones on drums. Absolute all-star lineup. There's only 5 tracks on here. Maybe there isn't a bonus track. I've had these Rudy Van Gelder editions before, and I thought they all had bonus tracks on them, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. This album was released in '67, but glad to get it. This is another sealed one. This is Whit Marsalis with Jane Monet, Mark O'Connor's Hot Swing Trio. Not familiar with it, haven't heard it before, but I'm a Whit Marsalis fan, so Price was right. I will absolutely try it. Ahmad Jamal, but not for me. That was on the Argo label. I have this on vinyl. It was on Argo. Then it was reissued on the Cadet label. I have both pressings. I do like this album. So to be able to get it on CD, I'm great with it. Here's more. Ben Webster meets Oscar Peterson. Originally on the Verve label. Great album. This Ben Webster tenor sax, Oscar Peterson piano, Ray Brown on bass, and Ed Thigpen on the drums. Great release. This is Charlie Parker and Billie Holiday. I don't have a lot of Charlie Parker stuff, but adding this one, I'm not familiar with the songs on this one either, but I'm willing to try if the price was right. This is Chet Baker, the best of Chet Baker plays. Great trumpet player, Chet Baker. Glad to get that. Pat Metheny Group Travels. This is an ECM recording from the early 80s. Excuse me. WNUA 95.5. That was our old jazz station in the Chicago area. This is a sampler's number 16. Every year they released a sampler. In the beginning years, it was a single disc CD, but later on they started doing double disc because they always came out around Christmas time with one jazz being holiday songs, the other one being smooth jazz hits, most that were popular from the previous year, with some classics mixed in. This was volume 16. Not sure when this came out. 2003 is when it came out. But yes, I used to have almost all of these. Some have gotten lost over the years. When WNUA, I think before they went off the air, or maybe it was after, one of their DJs, Rick O'Dell, had a site selling excess copies of these samplers that they had. Some were just the disc with no cover art. Some were the complete thing, and so I was buying a lot of them because some of those samplers it ended up having stuff that became rare. I know Tim Hines' "Dear Jackie" is a song that, well, at least at that time, trying to find that Tim Hines CD was almost impossible. But the song "Dear Jackie" that was the most popular was on the sampler, and that was the way that I had that song. So glad anytime I can get any of these WNUA samplers, I'm all for it. The Thelonious Monk. This one is called Live at the It Club, The Complete Sessions on Columbia. This is a 2-disc set. I am a Thelonious Monk fan. Not familiar with this particular work. It's sealed. I will unseal it. Gladly listen to it. Miles Davis plays for lovers. This is just some of his slower stuff. On the Prestige label. This is some of the album's artwork. It's probably hard to see that some of these songs came from, but it's a lot of just his slower stuff. My Funny Valentine, You're My Everything, Just Squeeze Me, Smooch, There's No Greater Love, Nature Boy, Around Midnight, just to name a few. So I'm a huge Miles Davis fan. Gato Barbie, Airy, Que Pasa. This is on the Columbia label. This is, I think, a 90s CD that he put out. Yeah, 97. 97. I've seen this, but I don't know that I've ever heard it. So glad to have it. Lastly, Billie Holiday, From the Heart. And just some of her greatest hits. I don't know if I'm going to get this out without breaking it. But I'm not a huge, yeah, I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm not a huge Billie Holiday fan. I have very limited collection of hers on vinyl, but I do appreciate some of her music. She's one of the artists though that I can have her stuff on CD and be completely okay with that. I don't necessarily have to have her stuff on vinyl. I got another CD of hers, another greatest hits compilation with some other songs on there. I just included this one. We're 20 minutes in, so I will just again acknowledge it is Hispanic Heritage Month in October, not October, in September. So to our Hispanic brothers and sisters, thank you for your contributions to our land here. Um, be proud of who you are, where you come from. And then also the month of September is National Suicide Prevention Month. So again, in the link, I'm sorry, not in the link, but in the information below, in the more information box below, there is a link to the website for the National uh, Suicide Prevention Line, as well as the phone number that you can call. Some other information. I would encourage you to share that if you need it. Don't hesitate to use it, or if someone that you think could benefit from it. And it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. Uh, I would encourage you to forward that information on to them. So again, let's just love on each other. Let's do the best that we can do. Try and live. Try and make it through. Um, it's tough times, but with perseverance, we can and will make it, and I sincerely believe that. So again, thank you all for watching. Cheers. Have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you for watching.